Megyn Kelly. Welcome to the program. How are you, Megyn?
Enraged, angry, just in disbelief at what our industry has become.
It was state-run media. I mean, for her to go in and say so many lies, that proves this is state-run media. She knew she could get away with saying lie after lie after lie after lie. I've never seen anything like it, and no corrections.
I could have lived with that. Politicians lie all the time. But the one-sided, quote, fact-checking was so outrageous. I would have been fine if they had done what CNN did, which is just be quiet. Dana Bash and Jake Tapper did not try to fact-check the candidates. They let them do that to each other, which is totally appropriate as a presidential debate. It's actually the way it should be. It's not our job to set the record straight. The only time you should weigh in as the moderator is if the integrity of your question is attacked, right? Like they're attacking the underlying foundation for what you're asking.
Right.
But as for the answer, that's for the other candidate to do. And these ABC News moderators didn't understand that, or they just didn't care. CNN actually got hammered by the left for doing that. The left wanted them to get out there and criticize Donald Trump and say, oh, no, you said this and that's wrong and so on. And ABC News clearly watched that and said, oh, well, that can't be us. We've got to pander to our base. And so they only fact-checked him. Their fact checks were incorrect and or were opinion. And then you had the assist by the rest of the media and back to CNN and this absolute cretin named Daniel Dale, whose fact check after the fact was that Trump lied 33 times, and she lied once.
Once?
That's what we're up against. Yes.
Eden Pure is back with their famous Thunderstorm air purifier. It's their top seller air purifier that quickly destroys viruses, odors, mold, and so much more. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you know it works. Any smell will vanish after just a few seconds of the Thunderstorm being plugged in. Odors, litter boxes, trash cans, cigarette smokes, dirty diapers. Wow, I don't want to visit that house. The powerful Thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules that seek out and destroy odors. I have these in my house. They're great. The molecules go behind and under furniture. Nothing can hide from the Thunderstorm. Best of all, no filters to buy over and over again, saving you money. Start enjoying your home again and get several Thunderstorms. Right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for the whole home protection. You get 3 units for under $200. Put one in your basement, bedroom, family room, kitchen, wherever you need the air to be clean. Go to EdenPureDeals.com, EdenPureDeals.com. Use the promo code Beck and save.
What was the one he picked? Was it like a lottery? You put all the lies into a little basket and you twirl it around, mix them up. B17. What was the lie?
Guess, he didn't make that clear, but I'm going to guess because on Twitter, he called her out for trying to claim that she had reversed her personal stance on fracking in 2020. You know, she wanted to ban it. And then in 2020, she's been claiming she said she didn't want to ban it, which isn't true. In 2020 at the VP debate, she said Joe Biden will not ban it. She has never reversed her stance on it. But nothing about the Charlottesville both sides lie, about the bloodbath, about the 2025 nonsense, about saying Trump is against IVF. Nothing. No, that's fine.
So, Megyn, what she had to do last night was assure people that hadn't seen her act presidential to appear to be strong, tough, and presidential. Did she do that for enough people?
Well, you added that phrase at the end, which makes me say no, for enough people. I don't think there was a game changer last night. I think most people will say she won the debate, but here's what I saw. I saw somebody who engaged in nothing but personal ad hominem attacks against Donald Trump throughout. I mean, at every chance she could, she went low, insulted him personally. And on that, he actually didn't take the bait. He took the bait on every other thing. You know, they were on the subject of immigration, and suddenly we're off talking about rally size, and
Yes.
he went there. Okay, so but on the personal attacks, he didn't. I saw somebody who couldn't control herself emotionally. She was on screen right, harrumphing, rolling her eyes, hand up on the chin, like, oh aren't you so interesting? It was a turnoff.
I've never seen anybody actually put their hand up on the chin and rest their elbow on their other hand. I mean, it was.
And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. This country hasn't elected a female president in 250 years. The person who's going to be number one is not going to be an emotionally unregulated, harrumphing, sighing hysteric. And that's how she appeared in the split screen for the first half an hour of the debate. She got it under control later. I cannot believe that the people sitting at home, and don't forget this election is coming down at the margins to men versus women. Men are for Trump and women are for Kamala. That these men sitting at home are going to say, I'm going to vote for her. I can sit at home on election day and let her win. I just think they're going to be motivated by how extreme she is. Yes, on policy, which Trump failed to point out last night.
Yes.
But her behavior, she is not a strong leader. She is the opposite of a Margaret Thatcher. And I think her schoolgirl attacks on him personally, trying to undermine the dignity of this man who served as president and was almost assassinated a month or two ago, and her eye rolling and so on, which telegraphs I can't control myself, were a real turnoff.
Let me ask you, I was personally offended, and I can't imagine that the American people weren't. When he was talking about how people are suffering and you can't afford, the groceries at the grocery store, when she laughed and rolled her eyes at that, I saw that and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're in such denial that is happening, or you just don't care. Do you think that? Did that play on you?
Yeah, there was that moment she laughed, and she laughed when he was raising what's happening in Springfield, Ohio. She openly laughed.
Yeah.
As these poor people, you can accept the pets' testimonials or not. They have not, in fact, been debunked.
Nope.
You have one city manager who says he can't prove any of that. He hasn't found the proof of it. That does not mean it didn't happen. Another totally inappropriate, quote, fact check by David Muir. What we have here is a he said, she said situation. It is not for the moderator to try to fix it. But she laughed at it. She rolled her eyes. And what is she laughing at? Immigration. What's happening in our cities because of the minimum. This is what's been documented. 10.4 million illegals who have come under her watch. 2.3 million under Trump's 4 years. 10.4 minimum, not counting gotaways, under hers. And when the question is raised, look at what's happening to American cities because of it. She laughed. You know who's not laughing? The family of Laken Riley, the family of that 12-year-old little girl who was murdered by illegals down at the southern border, who Trump went down and spent time with. That's the kind of stuff Trump needed to raise and didn't. But at a minimum, his team now today needs to be showing cackling Kamala back at it on the two worst issues for her, the economy and immigration.
Can you run for president? You'd make a really good president. You'd make a really good president.
Thank you. I'm too happy a person for that.
So you agree that Trump, if she came out immediately, said, let's do another one. I think he should say, sure, let's do 5.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And you know what they should say? I'll do it, and I'll pick one moderator, and you pick the other. Why don't they do that? Don't give it to, if Trump agrees to go on another mainstream, and that's a fake term. That is just a BS term. What is mainstream about these people?
I think we should start calling them state media. It's state media now.
I mean, truly, just as one example, but how many questions do we have on 2020 election denialism and so on? And how many questions do we have about what's being done to young girls in this country, and about the cutting off body parts of kids who are just confused because their parents got a divorce? Not One, they don't care. That they're in favor of that. That's not mainstream. So in any event, if he agrees to go back on the air and do a debate with another state-run media company, NBC, CBS, obviously ABC's out, and they ought to be out forever. No Republican should ever agree to go back on them.
Ever.
MSNBC. Then he deserves what he gets. He deserves what he gets. It should be, if they do anything from this point forward, either there's no moderator, they go mano a mano, or he picks one and she picks one.
But he has got to expose her because nobody else will. And she will crumble eventually. I mean, she's arrogant now. She came in after 5 days of memorizing all of these lies, really well prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what was so frustrating, Glenn. You could see it, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
She was like an automaton. She had been given her lines. And we heard this before the DNC. Mark Halperin reported that she'd been getting help from, he did it in sort of tongue-in-cheek, so you had to read between the lines, but it was CAA and Brian Lord, who's one of the heads of CAA, the most powerful agency, or one of them, in talent agency in the country, and that they were bringing in top Hollywood actors and actresses to coach her on delivery. That's what it takes to make her saleable to the American people. But I really believe that the people sitting in Iowa know that. They watched that, and there's just no way they looked at her and thought, yeah, this is a genuine person who cares about me.
Agreed.
She barely talked about them. Her whole debate performance was to convince us, and by the way, same plan for the moderators, how terrible Trump is.
Yes.
It was not, other than her first answer where she tried to say, oh, I'm middle class and I understand your problems. It was not about them or the economy.
One last thing. When she was calling him weak, and remember, she said, you're going to hear nothing but name calling tonight. Well, yes, from her.
Yes.
But when she kept saying over and over again, you're weak, you're weak, you're weak, she was just trying to get under his skin the entire time. And I have to tell you, I don't know if I could have been as restrained as he was last night.
I know.
90 minutes of lies. I don't think I could have contained myself. I would have lost.
I agree. I mean, my blood was boiling. His blood had to be boiling. Obviously, this was her plan. But the number of personal emasculating attacks she launched on him, if he had done anything like that to her, we'd be getting lectured all day about his misogyny.
Yes.
But she got away with it entirely. And all I could think of when I looked at Trump was, this is like a soldier in a foxhole surrounded by enemy fire, trying to return fire, one by one. But the hits on him were uniform. It was a pile-on, and it was nonstop. And when I looked at the way ABC handled it, 100% as effective and strong a competitor to him as she was, all I could think was ambush. Mm-hmm. This is an ambush. Mm-hmm. They laid a trap for him by assuring him they could be fair. He fell for it. He walked in there, and all they did was ask him horrible questions for him. If he didn't answer it, if he tried to bridge or he went with his own messaging, on him, they would follow up. The question was this. On her, they never did that. And then they would try to fact check him. And 9 times out of 10, their fact check was incorrect. And they never once fact checked her. And all of the topic selection was left-wing anti-Trump. I mean, every single question they asked, maybe 2 were normal. So he was like the soldier who was ambushed. And now I do have a belief, I know it's contrarian, but I really have a belief that the average American at home who watched that gets it on a visceral level, and I just don't expect any sort of big bounce for her.
From your lips to God's ear. Thank you so much, Megyn. You can hear Megyn and her whole opinion on SiriusXM immediately following this program on Triumph. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Megyn.
My pleasure.
You bet. Bye-bye.